Hello and welcome to this 60-minute practice. Our intent for this practice is around boundaries. So we can think of our physical boundary, the physical boundaries of the body, the skin, where we sort of begin and end. We also have emotional boundaries, we have energetic boundaries, we have a sort of energetic field, or an aura, some people call it. So that's the sort of intent of the practice, is to really think about boundaries and what that means for us. So I will thread little nuggets in as we go. I'll weave some of that intent in as we go. I'll bring a focus around the skin, and it's our biggest sensory organ. And also a sense of warmth. So the element that we're tuning into for this practice is fire. It certainly matches the astrology at the moment. We're February the 16th today, and tomorrow we're moving into sort of the next year as such, which this year is called the Year of the Horse, or specifically the Fire Horse. So quite a lot of forward momentum energy. And when we tune into the element of fire, we can think about the warmth that the fire creates, but also the properties of fire being this transformative energy, this ability to alchemize. So this is what we'll kind of weave into the practice this evening. We have a pretty slow embodied practice. We're moving slow this evening. We begin with breath. So find a comfortable seat to begin, and if you're at home, obviously you can find, I'm encouraging a real sense of comfort in your practice tonight, that comfort that we get from a lovely burning fire. So if you would like to use a wall or have your sofa behind you, or even sit on a chair, you're very welcome to do that for this first part of the practice. So we're going to begin by closing down the eyes, or just holding a soft gaze on one spot. Even better, if you have a candle nearby, you could focus your gaze on the flame of the candle and just watch how it moves. And so beginning to turn your attention inwards. And perhaps if you don't have a candle in your space, maybe we can just visualize one. So visualizing that single flame burning from a candle and just watching how it flickers and moves in your mind's eye. And bringing your attention to your body. And sometimes a physical practice of yoga, rather than the other limbs, can sort of help us remind ourselves that we have a body. As funny as that sounds, we get really distracted in this world, in our busy lives. And sometimes there's a remembrance that we have this body, and we want to connect the mind to the body. So there's no the boundary isn't there between the mind and the body. We can kind of dissolve that boundary. So coming home to your body and taking a really full breath in, and then a full breath to empty out. Noticing the quality of the inhale and the exhale. So the feeling when you take another full breath in, the feeling of perhaps this enlivening energy, something building, something growing. And as you exhale, this sense of surrendering and resting and softening. So a very different energy between the inhale and the exhale. Take another of those full breaths, maybe really slowly. Feeling the belly fill up, and then exhaling out through the mouth or through the nose. And we're going to start to rub the hands together here. So get a really generous amount of heat coming through the hands. So as long as you need to, you might be cold. We just started the practice. So take your time to generate a really good amount of heat. And then take your hands and this gesture of touch, start to rub them all over your face and maybe around your neck, and just notice the feel of your hands on your skin and that heat you've generated, maybe coming to the heart space, around the chest. And if you want to continue generating heat as you go, to get a little bit more in, and then come to your belly. So just create some heat and touch, maybe around the lower back too, all the way down the legs, so that you're really connecting with the boundary of your body, all the way down to your feet. And then maybe making your way all the way up. Back up around the neck, lingering in places that feel like they might need a little nourishment, a little care. And then place one hand on your heart and one hand on your lower belly. And here we find breath of fire, but I mean a slow burning fire rather than something fierce that's going to burn us out. So Kapalabhati breath, known as breath of fire, where we really force the exhale out of the nose. The mouth is closed. We force and push an exhale out of the nostrils whilst we're pulling the belly back in towards the spine. And then the inhale will just take care of itself, because as you soften the belly between those breaths, the inhale will take care. So take a really deep breath in, fill right up, and then empty out. And then breathe in about 2/3 of the way, so you leave some space. And then from here, very slowly though, we force that breath out. Almost like a slow moving kind of steam train. And you'll find a rhythm of your own, but make it more slow than fast. Almost like you're stoking the engine. And do 10 more of these. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then let all the breath out. Pause at the bottom there. And then take a deep breath in all the way to the top of the breath. And out through the mouth. And then taking your right hand, first 2 fingers to your third eye, or curl them into the palm, and close off the right nostril. A deep breath in through the left. Once you've completed that inhale, close the left and slowly breathe out through the right. All the way to the bottom. And that noticing the difference between the inhale and the exhale. Breathe in through the right, perhaps a sense of brightening and lifting, and then close the right, exhale through the left. Feeling the sit bones and the ground as your body meets the ground. Breathe in through the left, that sense of lifting, of brightening. And then close the left, exhale through the right. Really good, all the way to the bottom. Breathe in slowly through the right. Feel that sense of lightness, that brightness. And close the right, exhale left. Softening around the structure of your spine that's keeping you sitting up straight here. Breathe in through the left. And close the left, exhale right. Two more rounds of this. Breathe in through the right. Close the right, exhale left. Feel that rhythm of the breath. Breathe in through the left. Lift chest bone away from pubic bone. And close the left, exhale right. Last one. Breathe in through the right. Belly inflates, chest bone lifts. Close right, exhale left. All the way to the bottom, empty, empty out. Breathe in through the left. And close the left, exhale down through the right. Really good. Placing the right hand back down to the lower belly. And taking a really deep breath in, a full breath. And a big sigh out through the mouth. Really good. And then unraveling from here. So unraveling if you're in the cross-legged position, just gently with the hips where we've been opening there in that pranayama. Coming around and onto your back. And so traditionally starting with pranayama breath means that we prepare the body before we begin to move. So it's such a beautiful way to start a practice. Coming down onto your backs and extending the left leg. And hug the right knee into your chest. And for a moment just pause there, feeling the crease around the right hip. Ground your sacrum, your lower back, down to the mat. And feel through the left heel. Let the shoulder blades meet the ground. And perhaps you can find some more softness around the shoulder blades. And then we'll find a gentle twist for the spine. So we can adjust the hips slightly over to the right. And then the left hand guides the right knee across without compromising the shoulder blades. So shoulder blades stay flat on the ground. We're looking upwards. And the left hand's just guiding the knee as far as it will go. Opening out the right arm. And then tuning back into your breath. So in this twist, feeling some space around the belly, inflating the belly as you breathe in. And releasing anywhere you can feel any gripping as you breathe out. So maybe that's the left leg and the left thigh and the hip. Maybe there's some gripping going on there. You could soften. And keep breathing in a way that feels spacious. Good, and then bringing the right knee back across and the left knee in, and then extend the right leg. Pausing here for a moment as you hug the left knee into your chest. Really good for digestion, this one, in this position here, lying flat. And so hugging the knee in, sensing around the crease of the hip. And nice deep breaths to inflate the belly like a balloon. So we get more air down into the lower portion of your lungs. And this really optimal belly breath, optimal diaphragmatic breathing. And it's available to us at any time. No prescription, no payment, just awareness around the breath. Spinal twist, adjusting the hips over to the left and the right hand guiding the left knee across. Leaving the shoulder blades grounded and opening out the left arm here. Breathing around this twist for the spine. Massage for the tummy and the organs as you breathe. Using your exhales to really soften and search for places where you might be able to ease some tension or some gripping. And then bringing the left knee back across, hugging the knees into the chest, so both knees into the chest now, and covering the knees with the palms of your hands. And start to draw separate circles with the knees, so drawing them away from you and then round to the side and back into the center. Perhaps getting some pops and clicks in your hips as you explore the space. Obviously being gentle if you've got anything going on in the hips. And then take it in the opposite direction. Painting those big slow circles. As we'll be coming into some hip stretches later in the practice, so beginning to just get an awareness around that space, how your hips are feeling. And then coming to stillness, hugging the knees into your chest and rolling over onto your side, using your hands to come up. And now we transfer onto the belly. So this is a really nourishing practice this evening. We're not rushing, we're just taking our time to journey a little bit deeper with the awareness around the belly, the solar plexus. So coming onto your belly and making a pillow with your hands, resting your forehead down onto your hands, allowing your arms, your shoulders, your legs, everything to meet the ground. To soften downwards and feel support. And coming back to that optimal breathing, this diaphragmatic breath, where we're really taking a deeper breath to stretch the diaphragm downwards more and allow more air into the lower part of the lungs. So really good calming for the nervous system, calming for the body and the mind.
So with the belly against the ground, you can really feel this. So we'll just take some time here just to breathe in and push the belly against the resistance of the ground, but without a feeling of like really forcing. And then feel that amazing deflate and the sinking sensation as the ribs come inwards again. So breathing in, sensing the back of the ribs, and then feel that exhalation, deflation, surrender feeling. Breathing in to feel the resistance against the ground. The belly fills up and we exhale. One more like that. And breathe out. Lifting the head off the hands and coming into some chest openers here. So extend the left arm out next to you with the palm of the hand facing down, and use your right fingertips to push against the ground and turn onto the left side of your body. And you can stack the right leg on top of the left, or you might have space to bring that right leg slightly behind. And we rest the head back down onto the mat. So we start to get a lot of space around the left side of the chest and coming down the upper arm. This can feel quite intense. So we use the slow breath to just really gently explore that space that can get really, really tight with all the driving, the computer work, the being on phones, so we're counteracting all of that. Slow, compassionate breath in and out. And slowly rolling over back onto your belly, and then taking it the other side. So taking the right arm out, the palm of the hand facing down, using left fingertips to roll onto right side body. The left leg could stack on top of the right, or it might have space to come behind. Find a place for your head to rest, your left arm to fully rest. And then really feel how much you could just fully relax and allow the body to feel heavy, to feel supported by the ground. And slow, gentle, spacious breath to explore the space around the right side chest. And encourage some extra space there as we stretch. So it's this feeling, the energy of the practice is this feeling of a slow burning fire, not a raging furnace. And the feeling that this slow fire, this comforting fire, has the capacity to gently alchemize, any stress or tension or anxiety, worry, fear, and instead replace it with a warmth, a comfort, a stability of sorts. slowly rolling back over onto your belly, and then the hands underneath the shoulders to bring yourself up onto all fours, coming into tabletop position, untucking the toes so that we can press the tops of the feet down to the mat. And then take that slow breath in and start to drop the belly down. We're going to pause here and really feel through the front body, through the solar plexus, just at the bottom of the ribs. And continue to breathe here. So exhaling and inhaling, just remaining in this stretch. So again, a little more challenging to feel the inflation of the belly here, but you might sense the ribs a little bit more when you breathe in here in this cow stretch. Maybe you're feeling around the ribs, maybe you can get a sense of inflating the belly. But just pause and feel around the belly, feel the curve of the spine. And take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, go the other way. Move slow, because we stopped there for a while. So move slow as you go the other way, and excuse me, tuck the chin to the chest and stay here. So we're rounding in the spine now, pressing through the ground. Chin right to your chest. Maybe you've got some more space there to tuck the chin even more. And start to sense around your shoulder blades, the spine at the back. And continue to breathe here. So as you're breathing in, staying here, notice what gets moved with the breath. And if you'd like to experiment a little, you could tent the fingertips and make more room, perhaps. And perhaps tucking chin a tiny little bit more so you get some traction in the neck. Keep sensing through the back of the ribs, the space between the shoulder blades. And then empty out the breath. And on an inhale, come back to the cow stretch where you drop the belly, lift the chin. Come to the top of the breath and then exhale, tuck and round. Breathing in to arch. And breathing out to round. One more. Inhale, drop belly, lift the chin. Exhale, tuck and round. Maybe we created some more space. On your inhale, come back to center. On your exhale, sit back on the shins for just a moment, and we're coming into bird wing. So if the shins is uncomfortable to sit like that, too much compression in the knees, you could be up like this. You can do bird wing like this as well. So your choice. Sometimes it's not so comfortable to compress the knees like that. Bring the upper arms and bring them right to your ribs, and then turn the palms of the hands upwards. So this is called bird wing. Maybe it's better, maybe you can see me a bit better like this. So the palms of the hands upwards, so forearms are out like that. Can you see that, Lizzie? Have you got it? Yeah, cool. So I couldn't see your arms then. So I was like, oh, there they are. Take a breath in. And then as you exhale, keeping the upper arms stuck to the ribs, take the hands out to the side. So we get this opening chest
and feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. Breathe in, bring the hands back to center. Breathe out as you take them out to the side. Inhale to center. Exhale out to the side. And take that really slowly so that you really do feel the movement of the shoulder blades, because what your shoulder blades are doing is like moving in and out as you're doing that. So inhale slowly back to center. And exhale, feel the shoulder blades move inwards. So the bottom tips come inwards. And as you exhale, those bottom tips move outwards. So we're just keeping those shoulder blades nice and mobile and strong. And inhale back to center. And as you exhale, we're coming over and into downward facing dog. Coming into your down dog. Pedaling the feet a few times. Just to settle here, bending in one knee and then the other. And we're going to need some padding for the knees. So if you've got something to hand, whether you've got some knee padding or a blanket or a cushion, just have that to hand. So we're coming into some static lunges. So inhale, lunge, left foot steps through to the front. And then we can have that padding ready to lower the right knee down. And coming up here, you could use your hands to come up and interlace the fingers onto the front thigh. Pressing the hands against the thigh, feel a lift in your chest bone and some space around the right hip flexor, really good. Breathing in there and exhaling. And start to press the top of the back foot down to the mat. And continue to breathe on your inhales, lifting chest bone by pressing through the hands. And on your exhales, feeling the ground. Softening shoulders away from the ears. So spending more time in these static holds, it's a little bit like not messing around with the fire too much, you know? We're just letting it just sit and do its thing. And just really sense what is happening when we stay here a little bit longer. Awareness around the right hip flexor at the front. Keep pressing through the top of the back foot to feel that. And pressing the sole of the left foot down more so that you feel this activation of energy up the left. Moving from here, we'll take the hands down. Really good option to have two blocks here. I haven't got my blocks with me today, but I'm imagining I've got them. So if we come up, we're going to find a half split. So if you come up first so that your hips are nice and stable over this right knee, and then have the blocks ready for some stability in a minute, but shuffle the foot forwards, the left foot, so that you start to extend this front leg. And you flex it, and then kind of wiggle it from side to side just to get it completely extended. And this is where we use the blocks. So I'm going to pretend I've got blocks here. I'll be on my fingertips, but keep the front foot flexed. And then the idea is that we'll use the blocks to keep lifted. So we keep a length in the spine. So you can see I'm not rounding down here. I'm keeping lifted, keeping chest bone up, hands on the blocks, and really feeling through the back of your left leg. So on your inhales, this sense of lifting chest bone up. And on your exhales, perhaps just an inch or two to lower chest bone down without rounding in the back. Oh, that's quite a stretch up the back of the left leg, right? Flexing the front foot and spread the toes apart so the feet are really active too. And then coming out of this, the hands coming down, slide the left ankle back underneath the left knee, and we'll tuck the right toes and start to raise the right knee up. Turn your back foot to an angle, and keeping the bend in the front knee, we're going to make our way up into Warrior One. So Warrior One legs. But instead of the arms coming up as we usually do, we're going to come back into bird wing in Warrior One. So pressing through the outer blade of the back foot to feel really stable here on your legs. Bring the upper arms and into the ribs so they stay there. Palms of the hands facing up. And take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, opening the arms out to the side. So again, feel shoulder blades coming inwards. Breathing in, slowly the hands come back to center. And exhale as you take the hands out to the side. So awareness is completely around your shoulder blades here. Inhale as you bring the hands to center. Space between the shoulder blades. And exhale as you open space at the front and close it at the back. So you're working back muscles here. Inhale, hands come to the center. And exhale as you take the hands outwards and feel the shoulder blades squeezing inwards. Really good. One more here. Inhale to center. And exhale, open the hands out, feel the shoulder blades squeeze inwards, big stretch in the front of the chest here. And stay here for just a moment and sense into your solar plexus and breathe into that space. And this is your solar, your place of fire. On your in-breath, bring the hands back to the center and then take the hands down to support you as you step the right foot into the front of the mat and find a forward fold. Allowing the arms to just be heavy here, dangling the arms. Take a big breath into your belly, fill the belly up, and as you exhale, roll up the spine. Head coming up last, arms to follow, bring them up above your head, and exhale as you fold down. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, come back through to your downward facing dog. Pedaling in the feet. And making sure you've got some padding for the left knee. So we're coming through to lunge. Inhale, right foot steps through. Lower the left knee down. Finding that comfort in your asana. Perhaps using a blanket or some padding underneath the knee. Coming up for lunge, interlace the fingers and place them on your thigh. And pause here for a few moments. Pressing down through the sole of the front foot and the top of the back foot. So you're really actively meeting the ground, and we activate so many muscles by doing that. A little squeeze of the left glute. And then noticing the energy of the inhale, this feeling of brightening, lifting, energizing, perhaps some sparks in the fire. And then as you exhale, this feeling of grounding and calming. It's almost like imagining the embers of a fire, and on the inhale they're brightening, and on the exhale they're fading slightly. And then bringing the hands down, we're coming to half split. So just for a moment there, bring the hands down, make sure the knee is fully padded, and then make your way up so that you can sense the stability of the hips directly over the left knee. And then shuffling the right foot forwards to extend the leg, and then flexing the foot, wiggle it to the side to side, and it will just get it into place. Using your blocks, or you might be on fingertips, depends on length of arms really, but blocks are a great option here for stability too. So on the inhale, lifting the chest bone up, and on the exhale, perhaps a feeling of lowering the chest bone forwards just by a couple of centimeters or inches, and keeping that front foot flexed. Lots of stretch, lots of space up the back of the right leg. Calf muscle, hamstrings, right into the glutes. Sciatic nerve, all of that. And then slowly shuffling, like slide the heel back, tuck left toes and raise the back knee, turning the back foot, prepping for warrior one. So we have a bend in the front knee. You might widen the feet apart a little bit to give the hips space. And coming into bird wing, upper arms against your ribs, nice. And you're going to keep them there so there's no gap. And then bring the palms of the hands upwards, bring the hands inwards to the center, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, rotate the hands out to the side, open at the front and close at the back. Inhale to go the other way, we're opening at the back and feeling that at the front. Exhaling as you take the hands out to the side. Inhaling as you take the hands out to the side. And exhaling. So keep doing that movement, taking the hands out to the side, really noticing the shoulder blades moving inwards. We're isolating that movement and feeling the opening across your chest, and then bringing the hands back to center. Not rushing this. Just really sensing those two spaces, the front of the heart and the back. One more in your own time. Feel the shoulder blades squeeze together. And then making the space between the shoulder blades as the hands come back in. And then releasing from there, taking the hands down to frame this front foot. And we're going to heel toe. So we're coming into half pigeon. So however you get down there, one way is to heel toe the right foot across the left and kind of use your hands to lower the hips down. Or you might find it easier just to come down onto your knees and bring that front shin, the right shin through. So whatever way you need to transition is all good. So coming into a half pigeon, notice the shape of my legs. So the right shin, we're having a bend in the right knee. The shin The right shin is across the mat and parallel with the top of the mat. And then this back leg, the left leg, the thigh is going to come out at the level of the hip, and then line the shin up with that edge of the mat. So you've got this kind of like 90-degree shape. And then walk your hands over to frame the right foot. So we turn the chest bone to the right foot. And you could stay like this. This might be enough. Just breathing like we did in the half split. You might just be breathing here, and on your inhales, you're lifting chest bone. And on the exhales, you're just exploring how it feels to lower slightly, and just keep breathing like that. And that might be more than enough of a stretch around the right hip. Or you might just continue to explore space. You maybe have got space to put the right forearm down onto the mat, or perhaps onto a block or two, and lean, interlace fingers around the ball of the right foot. So you've got this, so you've got some purchase basically. You can lean and use the foot to lean over. And just using this time to sense around the right hip. I really love half pigeon. I think sometimes I get, I think a deeper stretch, for me personally, feels like a deeper stretch in a half pigeon. Whereas I think when I first started practicing yoga, I had this story running in me that was like, oh, the advanced pose is the full pigeon, you know? But actually, I think I get a lot of more sensation, more feeling in the half pigeon. And maybe it's the same for you, maybe not. And just continuing to notice the breath and how it feels when we're just taking a really slow, spacious breath in and feeling the belly fill up. Noticing what areas of the body get moved with the inhale and which soften on the exhale. Two more deep breaths in your own time. Trying not to rush them. And coming slowly out of this, if you really fold it down, bring yourself up slowly, hands behind you. So a good thing about half pigeon is you can gently switch the legs to the other side, or come around in whatever way, depends on the space that you're in, of course. And then taking that time to set it up with the left shin coming across the mat, the foot flexed, the right thigh coming out at the angle of the hip, and then lining your shin up with the edge of the mat. Walking the hands over to the left foot. And again, one side might feel tighter than the other, so just notice that in your body. And this might be enough, staying here, elevating and leaning the chest bone towards the left foot. So on your inhales, this sense of lifting chest bone, and on your exhales, perhaps leaning chest bone down towards the foot just a little deeper each time. And using the breath. Or you might have space to take the forearm down onto a block or onto the mat and interlace fingers around the ball of the left foot. So you have a bit of purchase, a bit of resistance. You can press the ball of the foot into the hands and notice how that feels around your left leg and your thigh. Really nice deep breaths.
Noticing the expansion on the inhale and the feeling around the back, the upper back and the lower back when you breathe in. And then perhaps a softening around the belly area as you breathe out. And all your awareness taken to the left hip and the space around the hip, the muscles around the hip, so around from your lower back, your glutes, and around the side of the hip and down the thigh, just really sensing around those areas. Maybe it feels really tight. Maybe the breath is helping to create a little bit of space. And sense the connection of the sit bone and the hip to the ground, to the earth underneath. That sense of stability and holding, a holding of sorts. And then slowly making your way out of this, coming up and maybe helping that right leg around. And coming into a seated forward fold. You could use a strap for this so that we get that same feeling that we've had throughout, which is this lifting of the chest bone helps to create space around the lower back. So extending both legs in front of you. You could undo your strap so that you've got both ends loose, and then loop it around the feet, get the loose ends, and you just start to wind it around the hands so that, again, you've got some resistance, some purchase there. On an inhale, using this resistance of the strap, lift up. So you feel this real kind of lifting the chest bone away from the pubic bone. Notice how it feels more grounded through the base of your spine when you do that. And then start to pull on the strap and bring the chest bone towards the feet, but keeping this lengthened spine. So it's not about reaching the feet here and, rounding down. We're keeping lifted. We're using the strap, and every inhale we're getting a little lift, and every exhale perhaps a tiny bit more chest bone towards the feet, but you can see the head is still lifted. Staying here for a few breaths. When you breathe in, sense around the lower back. When you breathe out, feel the base of your posture connecting to the ground. So that's the root chakra. Another really deep breath in. Feel that lifting, that enlightening kind of lifting sensation. And then as you exhale, press the back of the legs down to the mat too. On an inhale, very slowly start to release the pressure of the strap. Unwind it from the hands, release the strap for a moment, and then we're going to make our way down onto the back. And do that in a really supportive way. So it might be that one forearm comes down first, then the other one, And then we can curl down the spine and come all the way down. Bringing the knees into your chest and take the knees wide apart here. And then as you exhale, bring them back into the center. So inhale as you open and exhale as you bring them back in. Inhale to open and exhale as you bring them back in. One more there. Breathe in to open the thighs. This time as you breathe out, take the feet to face the ceiling, keep the bend in the knees and come into happy baby. Hands might be around the backs of the thighs. That can feel really grounding actually. You take the backs of the thighs and kind of hug them in and down. You get quite a grounded happy baby there, feeling through the lower back. Or you could try reaching for the feet with lots of bend in the knees and continue to feel that you're grounding the legs back into the hip sockets. And perhaps a little soothing rock from side to side. And allowing the breath just to be natural, really effortless, so that you start to invite yourself into the sleep of Shavasana. Releasing the feet or the thighs, hugging the knees into the chest one last time as a final acknowledgement of the practice. And then extending the legs down the mat. There are different ways of doing Shavasana depending on how you're feeling. You could prop something underneath your knees, you could put a blanket on, you could come to this fetal pose Shavasana where you're lying on your side and maybe popping a blanket or a block underneath your head to raise the head up and keep the neck neutral. So yeah, side Shavasana is a lovely one. And something I've been practicing for a couple of weeks now, just as a practice on its own, is just a little mini side Shavasana, and really nice to have a bolster to put between the thighs if you do go for that option. So finally coming down to this resting position. We've got a few minutes here, but if you do want a longer Shavasana, then obviously please do. The benefit of doing these online classes is that you can extend your Shavasana to make it as long as you like. And sensing the ground, and sensing what was transformed, what was alchemized in the practice. And softly bringing some awareness back. Noticing the ground underneath your body and the gentle movements created by your breath. The sense of rising and falling around the belly and the ribs. And starting to stretch out your breath, lengthen the breath as you begin to move the fingers and the toes and the wrists and the ankles. And perhaps a sigh or a yawn or a stretch. And then beginning to bring the knees into your chest. If you're not already on your side, rolling over to one side. And then using your hands to support you to come up to a seat to close the practice together. And bringing the hands into this final mudra, Anjali, this gesture of the hands together in prayer. The fingers all touching, the thumbs all touching, and then bring the mudra to your heart space. Perhaps in your mind's eye seeing a single flame flickering. Perhaps imagining that is inside the cavity of your chest, of your heart, perhaps the cave of your heart, a single flickering flame. And taking a deep breath in through the nose. And a very soft sigh out through the mouth, so we don't blow out the flame. And keep the flame burning, dropping the Head to the hands, head towards your heart, towards the flame. The sacred in me honours the sacred in each and every one of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me live or joining me on the recording. Very lovely to practice with you.